Hello, everybody. God bless you. We have our daughter Isabella here with us. We're just going to talk to her a little bit, just her walk with the Lord. She has been raised in the church since she was a little girl. She's always been with us, even when we've gone to minister and so forth in places. She's always been the one that's been by our side. So she's always, she's been raised in the church since she was a little girl. But we wanted her to come on tonight just to talk about, I think it's very important. Sometimes we can share what we feel and what we're going through, or what God has done in our life personally. But I think it's good, for us to talk to our children and hear from this generation, what, even though they've been raised in the church, some of their battles, some of the things that they've gone through, some of the ways that maybe they have overcome things. And once they overcame things, how did they sustain it? What were the things that kept them going? What are the things that has kept them walking with the Lord through everything that they go through? Because even our children, regardless of how long you've served the Lord, if you're in ministry, or maybe if you're not in ministry, but just walking with the Lord, you are walk in salvation, and you've poured into your children, and they've gone to church their whole life, but they go through battles, they go through things, and even battles that sometimes they won't confide in us and they won't tell us about. And so I just wanted to bring Isabella on here and talk to her a little bit, that she could share her heart from, even as a PK, and someone who's been raised in the church. So Isabella, what are some of the battles, even though you've been raised in the church, and mommy and daddy have taught you to pray, mommy and daddy have taught you to get in your word, to keep your fire for the Lord, making, not saying that your salvation is because you go to church, but how important it is for us to connect with the body of believers, and to be fed even in submission to people that are, like elders in the church and different things like that. But what are some of the struggles that you have gone through in life, as a Christian, and as at a young age?
Sometimes, when I was younger, you guys know I got hurt with the boy that, not hurt, but made me feel bad, because when I was younger, I was fine. I didn't have fear. But once the boy told me that he didn't want to hang out with me, ever since there. Right now, I don't have much fear, but there are some times where I do get attacked, and I'm scared to do stuff. But sometimes I'm able to do things without having fear, but there are some times where that still attacks me. So I feel a little bit I feel more healed, but there are few times where I do feel fear in certain areas, and it's sometimes hard for me to talk to people because I'm afraid that they are going to say the same thing that boy did. But I still desire to have friends, but I think there's just still stuff I have to work on, and to even though it still may hurt me, but I am healed, but there are some times where that thought comes into my mind, and I just feel hurt again, but then I have to pray over myself and say I forgive him, even though it may have hurt me. I still forgive that person.
So he rejected you is what he did, right?
He rejected me.
So that's what you felt was the rejection, because you wanted to play with someone, and it was also a church that you visited, but it wasn't your regular church. So when you came, I think some of us, right? It's our first time going to this church, or getting to know someone at a church that you don't usually go to, but you're coming to visit, and you're rejected by someone. It can hurt, right? And so I know that's one of the things that happened to you. And I remember where it was like you wouldn't want to go to class anymore, even when you would go to, you know, when you were older and go even to public school, like in North Carolina, like you would cry and she, you know, she wouldn't even, you know, would stay in school because it's like that fear, that anxiety of being rejected. But even throughout when you were older, you would still be rejected even by other kids in schools and stuff like that, right? But I feel like maybe in a way, maybe one of the reasons why, because we all know that when we have wounds in our soul, right, and we're not healed, that it can attract people that deal with the same thing because we're not healed, right? But when we're healed, even if the enemy were to try and do something, we can rise above it, right? So, I mean, what do you feel like the spirit of fear, what does it do?
It it keeps you like you don't want to like talk to people, and you just want to stay to yourself, and you feel like if you talk to anybody else that you'll get rejected again. So that's what I'll say.
We got to pay attention to what our children's may be going through, and I think that one of the biggest mistakes as parents is getting so busy in everything else, getting so busy in every area. Can be work, can be ministry, can be just anything that we forget who God gave us, and who we are accountable for, and how we need to cover them, and how we need to protect them, and how we need to pray for them. And we can forget, because of how busy we are, that when they go through things, we don't pay attention to the things that they're going through. When they go through stuff, we may ignore it at that moment because of how busy we are, and we may think it's not a big deal, but for them it was a big deal. They probably got hurt, they got rejected, they go through things, and sometimes we think it's just not a big deal what they're going through. We think, okay, you know, we just pray about it. We just, you know, we just push it out and let's just keep going. You know, we got this. We can, you know. But sometimes we just need to slow down. We need to stop. We need to sit down with our children. We need to listen to them, to what they may be going through. We got to take our time. We got to, you know, turn off your phone, turn off everything, you know, have everybody wait. Everybody can wait. I think it's time to listen to our children and what they may be going through, you know. And sometimes, you know, we don't, you know, and then time later they come and they tell you, I went through this, I was going through that, and I'm like, how come we didn't know that she was going through it, you know? And it's because of how busy we are that they can even sit down to talk to us about it, or even, you know, they see us so busy that, you know, they just feel like, man, how can I share this with my dad or with my mom?
And I think that was the other stuff, but that in that case, when that happened, she did come to us and she told us, but she was only, I think she was like 5 years old, right? Something like that. And I remember that day very clearly because she came and it hurt her so much that she wouldn't even talk to me there. She pulled me into a stall. She wouldn't even talk to me in the bathroom. You pulled me into a stall to be able to talk to me about it. But it was like that paralyzing feeling of that rejection and what that does. But I think that that's why we, even as parents, have to be careful how we talk to our children, and you know, like us as adults, to really understand what, you know, even though this was a kid who did this, but to know that us as adults, we need to be careful how we talk to people, how we talk to people in the church, how we talk to our children. We really have to be careful because we can hurt them. Now, but then there was other times that you were hurt, like at school, and we didn't know for a long time. Now, what was one of the reasons why you wouldn't tell us, like, about the things that were happening at school?
Like what?
Like some of the times, like where people would mistreat you guys and say like stuff to you in Destiny and like tease you guys and stuff like that?
Like in like
Elementary.
elementary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like which one? I forgot which one.
I think one in North Carolina when you went to school, and I think there was one in Miami too, right? Where there was like some kids that were not being nice to you guys, or like on the bus and stuff like that too.
So, well, like the boy that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, when I was younger, there were things that I went through, and after that happened, the boy would make me and like laugh at my sister and me. We would be, well, there was one time we were on breakfast and he and his friend were laughing at us, and so we didn't have to see them. We both put up our book bags and we put them up so they wouldn't look at us because they were laughing at us. Because after that situation happened, my parents talked to the parents, and after that, his brother was treating me wrongly and would yell at us in the bus, and because they had a little sister that was like always sit next to me, and there was a time like after that happened that she wanted to come sit next to us, and the brother started yelling at me because I said it's okay if she sits with us, and he started yelling at me because I said so. Well, I said that she could sit with us, and then he walked off, and then I think he brought his sister. I'm not sure. I think she stayed with us.
So you guys went through bullying at
Yeah.
school.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, once we already talked, you didn't come and tell us about the other stuff that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like a fear, like, okay, if my parents know, they're going to go confront it again and it's going to get worse? It was something like that, and that's why you didn't want to tell us the rest of the stuff?
I don't really think it was that. I don't know why I didn't tell you. But I know it wasn't because I was afraid that you're going to confront him again. I think it was just because I don't know why I didn't tell you guys about that.
But you had to go through a lot of inner healing and stuff like that again. Because another thing that I know as a parent is when your kids hide stuff from you,